Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakahakwadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who ruled and teach well. In peace and salutations to you, sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and I'm going to start it off in Luke chapter 21, verse 7. And they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things be? And what sign will there be when these things shall come to pass? Now I'm going to jump down to verse 11, but the header reads, things to come. And this is Yahawashi HaMashiach, whom the world ignorantly refers to as so-called Jesus Christ, telling his disciples in the past of the signs to look for before his second coming and the end of the age of the rulership of the heathen nations. But as it says in Romans chapter 15, everything written aforetime was written for our learning. Yahawashi was really speaking to his disciples today, telling them to look for the signs of his second coming, and again, the end of the rulership of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites or the so-called white people, because these are the times we're living in right now. But Luke chapter 21, verse 11, and great earthquakes shall be in divers places, and famines, and pestilences, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven. And in this video, I've got a few articles to show that some of these signs, these end-time signs that Yahawashi told his disciples to look for, are taking place as we speak. And also, with this uptick in so-called UFO, which are really the chariots or the heavenly vehicles of the Most High, sightings going on all across the planet, to the point to where these different heathen governments have to admit to their existence. We're at the door of our salvation, Akim, when Yahawashi is going to make his second coming to save his elect, the 144,000, and the rest of the righteous 1/3 of the nation of Israel, who are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as the Israelite foreigners who look like the heathen nations, and to put the final nail in the coffin of the rulership of these heathen nations, chiefly these Edomites, before setting up the kingdom of heaven, where we're going to rule for eternity. So like we always tell you, Akim, you should have all 10 toes down in this truth, pushing this word as hard as you possibly can to make your calling and election sure, so you can hope to be of that elect number and be of the first fruits in the kingdom of heaven. But first, we're going to get into these great earthquakes which are happening in diverse places. This is an article from endoftheamericandream.com, which is a very apt title because the end of America is very near. And the title of the article reads, "The shaking in California is getting worse as hundreds and hundreds of earthquakes cause alarm on the West Coast. Earthquakes in diverse places." And if you check any of these earthquake websites, you'll see that earthquakes are happening damn near daily all across the planet. A couple of months ago, there was some pretty serious earthquakes around New Zealand, and we're about to read about a swarm of earthquakes happening all across America's West Coast. And these earthquakes are just going to continue and intensify as we get closer and closer to Yahawashi's second coming. And this article was posted on June 6th. Are we getting close to a major seismic event on the West Coast? Within the past several days, we have seen hundreds of earthquakes happen in Southern California. There have been large earthquakes offshore near the Cascadia subduction zone, and there has been a very alarming swarm of earthquakes at Mount Hood. We haven't seen this much seismic activity along the West Coast in quite a long time, and many are concerned that this could be leading up to something really big, and it is the second coming of Yahawashi HaMashiach and the end of America, which is known as Babylon the Great in the scriptures, and these heathen nations ruling, and the kingdom of heaven being established for eternity. At this moment, scientists are carefully monitoring the area around the Salton Sea. According to the USGS, in one 24-hour period over the weekend, more than 600 earthquakes of at least a magnitude 1.0 shook that area of Southern California. More than 600 small earthquakes have been recorded this weekend in a rural area near the Salton Sea in Southern California, with the largest having a magnitude of 5.3, a U.S. Geological Survey geophysicist told CNN. Geophysicist Randy Baldwin said 603 temblors with a magnitude of at least 1 happened in the area from Saturday to just before sunrise Sunday. The magnitude 5.3 quake was felt throughout the region. In fact, it is being reported that it was even felt at an apartment building that was 95 miles away from the epicenter of the earthquake. People in Chula Vista, San Diego, El Centro, and Indio felt the 5.3 quake, according to the USGS Did You Feel It reports. The tool collects information from people who report they felt an earthquake and creates an interactive map. Saturday morning's shaking could be felt in an apartment building near Del Mar, California, approximately 95 miles away from the location of the earthquake. Salakia. When I wrote about the alarming rise of earthquake activity on the West Coast a week ago, just over 1,000 earthquakes had occurred in California and Nevada over the previous 7 days. Now that number is up to 1,757, and it seems to be going up with each passing hour. Elsewhere, a pair of magnitude 5.9 earthquakes were reported off the coast of Oregon on Friday. So California, Nevada, and Oregon, earthquakes in diverse places. Elsewhere, 2 5.9 magnitude earthquakes struck in the Pacific Ocean around 89 and 98 miles west of the coastal town of Gold Beach, Oregon, after 1 a.m. PT Friday, the USGS reported. At least 4 earthquakes ranging in magnitudes from 3.9 to 5.9 occurred in that area in the previous few hours, according to the USGS. The entire west coast of the United States sits along the infamous Ring of Fire, and so there are always quakes in the region, but 5.9 is unusually large. And the fact that these quakes were not too far from the Cascadia subduction zone is particularly alarming. The day before, residents of San Jose were shaken by a magnitude 3.6 earthquake. A 3.6 magnitude earthquake shook San Jose on Thursday morning, the U.S. Geological Survey reports. The 3.7 mile deep quake hit at 5:15 a.m. Pacific time, according to the USGS. Dozens of people from as far away as Oakland and San Rafael reported feeling the tremor to the agency. Well, that's one way to wake up, read one Twitter post. Earthquake in San Jose, anyone else can't go back to sleep. And just a few days before that, Disneyland was rattled by a very unusual swarm of earthquakes. A swarm of earthquakes struck the Disneyland area this morning, including one which left a Southern California visitor wondering if he was still on a theme park ride. While relatively light, the 2.7 magnitude earthquake which struck at 12:41 a.m. this morning was felt by more than 300 people that reported it to the USGS using their Did You Feel It online survey tool. The quake hit at a depth of 2.7 miles and was followed by 9 aftershocks, most of which struck within 4 miles of the Disneyland complex. And hey, that earthquake should have struck Disneyland. California is one of the most wicked states in the United States of America. They've got Hollywood there that pushes out all this filth onto not just the people in America, chiefly the Israelites, to bug them out, but to the planet to bug everybody out and get them to follow after this Babylonian, wicked, demonic lifestyle. So it'll be beautiful if a major earthquake hits California and just knocks that bitch into the sea. And hey, with these earthquakes and those major forest fires that have been happening in California over the past couple of years, we can clearly see that the Most High has a bone to pick with California. Have you ever watched a disaster movie in which several smaller seismic events preceded the big monster event at the end of the movie? Just because so many unusual seismic events are happening in California right now does not necessarily mean that something bigger is on the way. But without a doubt, now is the time to be on an increased state of alert. To me, one of the most disturbing developments of the past week was the large earthquake swarm that occurred right at Mount Hood on Saturday. The earthquake rumbled at 8:51 p.m., June 5th, just south of the summit of Mount Hood. It was preceded by several earthquakes in the hour before the quake, and tens of aftershocks have occurred since, the Cascades Volcano Observatory of the U.S. Geological Survey reported in a news release Saturday night. Since the eruption of Mount St. Helens in 1980, there hasn't been a major volcanic eruption in the United States. We should be thankful for that, but eventually all the volcanoes on the West Coast are going to go off. It's just a matter of time. And hey, with Jacob's trouble stated in the scriptures to be worse than any other time in human history, hey, expect major earthquakes to destroy California and volcanoes to erupt and further kill off mass numbers of people, as well as that one geyser at Yellowstone Park going off. But for those living in Southern California, a historic earthquake is the larger threat. Scientists assure us that the big one is way overdue, and when it finally arrives, many believe that it will permanently alter the geography of the California coastline. Despite all of our advanced technology, there is nothing that we can do to stop the big one, hey, the real big one, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, from bringing that judgment onto the United States of America, from coming. And experts acknowledge that the death and destruction that we will witness during such an event could be off the charts, and you better believe it, not just in California, but the rest of the United States of America, because besides all these calamities that are going to come to the United States of America, the cherry on top is going to be 200 million nuclear warheads hitting this place and turning it into the biblical lake of fire from sea to shining sea, and then a desolate, uninhabitable wasteland afterwards. And the only people that are going to make it out of this coming destruction to the United States of America, Babylon the Great, are the elect of the nation of Israel, the 144,000 and the rest of the righteous 1/3. But that's it with this article and the earthquakes in diverse places. Back in Luke chapter 21 verse 11, and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines and pestilences, and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. This is my second article on space.com. The Ring of Fire solar eclipse of 2021 will look like the Death Star in front of the sun, astronomer says. And fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. People across the northern hemisphere will be able to spot a ring of fire in the sky as an annular solar eclipse moves across our planets this Thursday, June 10th. So the solar eclipse took place this past Thursday. Solar eclipses happen when the moon moves directly between the sun and the earth, casting a shadow on our planet and blocking out at least some of the sun's light. This Thursday at sunrise, we can look forward to an annular solar eclipse, which occurs when the moon is too far away from Earth in its elliptical orbit to completely block out the sun like it does during a total solar eclipse. Instead, it leaves the outer ring of the sun exposed, creating the appearance of a ring of fire in the sky during the only annular solar eclipse of 2021. It's not going to look like your regular sun. Jack Flaherty, an astrophysicist at the American Museum of Natural History in New York City, told Space.com, while the full ring of fire will be visible from the northernmost latitudes, including the North Pole and parts of Greenland and Canada, most viewers will see only a partial version of the eclipse, which will be visible from parts of North America, Europe, and Asia. A partial eclipse in which the moon appears to take a bite out of the sun may not be as impressive as an annular ring of fire eclipse. However, Flaherty noted that even a partial eclipse can be incredible to witness. Thursday's partial eclipse will look like the Death Stars in front of the sun as it's rising, she said, referring to the moon-sized space weapon from Star Wars. And so from these two articles, we can see that some of the end-time signs Yahweh Shai told his disciples to look for are taking place as we speak. And hey, this is just the beginning of sorrows. It's only going to get worse from here on out, and it's all going to culminate in Yahweh Shai making his second coming to save his elect and to take away the rulership of the heathen nations, chiefly you Edomites. Now I'm going to close it out in Joel chapter 2. I'm going to read verses 30 to 32. And the header reads, the day of Yahweh And I will shew wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness. Solar eclipses happen when the moon moves directly between the sun and the earth, casting a shadow on our planet and blocking out at least some of the sun's light. This Thursday at sunrise, we can look forward to an annular solar eclipse, which occurs when the moon is too far away from the earth in its elliptical orbit to completely block out the sun like it does during a total solar eclipse. Instead, it leaves the outer ring of the sun exposed, but the sun's light is still getting blocked out. The sun shall be turned into darkness, annular solar eclipse, partial solar eclipse, and the moon into blood. And there have been many blood moons and blue moons and wolf moons and worm moons already this year and over the past couple of years, along with many other solar and lunar eclipses before the great and terrible day of Yahweh come. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of Yahweh shall be delivered. And the only ones that are truly calling on the name of Yahweh are the elect, the 144,000, and the rest of the righteous 1/3, which Yahweh willing, myself and you sincere Akim on who watch this video, or who are just have come back to your heritage or a part of, for in the Mount of Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance, as Yahweh had said, and in the remnant whom Yahweh shall call, that elect number. So that's it with this video. And with this video, I hope you sincere Akim are edified. Just another prophecy update just to show how much closer we are to Yahweh Shai's second coming and our salvation. So again, I hope this video was edifying to you, sincere Akim. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.